I went from being made redundant to growing my marketing agency to a team of 6 people. I was traveling. I spent a month living in the Philippines, a month living in Indonesia. I spent 3 months living in Latin America. I would go home to see my mom every 2 months in Madrid and spend time with her. Hi everyone, and welcome to the One Way Ticket podcast. I have missed you so much, and it feels like ages since I last recorded an episode. I wanted to talk about my journey to becoming a digital nomad and how I became a digital nomad, how I founded a successful digital marketing agency, and also how I started my social media career. I moved to the UK when I was only 18 years old. So the media is something that I've always been super interested in. Like, I've always loved the media industry, communications. Like, I always wanted to be a TV host. I've always loved to be in front of the camera. So my journey starts in when I think it was 2015, when I was only 18 years old. I bought a one-way ticket to England, London, and I wanted to find a way of updating my family and my friends about everything that I was up to. So I started a blog. I started a WordPress blog, mind you. At this time, this was, 12 years ago, there were influencers, but most of them were using blogs. They're using online platforms like blogs, like blog post. I think it was called blog post. I created my very first personal brand that was under the name of the Gypsy Soul, because I always thought I was a little bit gypsy, and I've always liked to stay in different places. I remember when I was 12 years old, I used to tell my mom to take me to boarding school in a different country. My mom was like, "You've lost your mind." When I was 18 years old, I created this blog, which I named the Gypsy Soul. And that's my very first personal brand that honestly, I was able to grow to an audience of 8,000 people, and I was able to monetize. So not many people can say this, okay? I'm not talking about how social media is currently nowadays. This is 12 years ago, okay? So what happened was that I started this blog. It was terrible, and I also decided to do it in English. And mind you, English is not my first language. My first language is Spanish, but I decided to do it in English. Oh my God, can I tell you, I also used this blog to practice for university, because I was applying for university in the UK at the time, in London. So I started this blog. I created a YouTube channel when I started university. I was only 19 years old. And yeah, so when I started my first YouTube channel, it's deleted now because it was embarrassing. I regret deleting it. I wish I had kept it, because at the end of the day, that just shows growth. Then I started university, and then I just continued with my blog. And then on Instagram, I used to share things like about what was I eating, because I became a vegan as well at this time. This was my first time attempting to be vegan. I've attempted to be vegan 2 times. So I kind of made it like a vegan lifestyle, and I used to just share what I ate in a day, new vegan restaurants, and used to share beauty products. And this is the time when I started to get brands contact me to send me free products, like literally free product. I was on my first year of university. This was 9 years ago, I think, almost a decade ago. And I used to receive emails from brands wanted to add me to the PR list, to send me products, and I used to receive products every single week. At this time, I started to be invited to events as well. And this all happened throughout, I was my first year of university. I've always been passionate about this, and I would honestly take this as a job. Like, I've always taken this as if it was my job. And by that, I mean, I used to go to the library at university, and I was like, I have so much work to do. And then my work would be working on my blog posts, whilst my colleagues and my friends were working on their essays and their dissertations. I used to work on my blog. When I tell you, I've always had this passion for creating content and sharing and inspiring people. I had a part-time job at the body shop. One day, when I was in the body shop, I was just working, and it was in a shopping center, and I think it was the manager I can't remember very well, but I think it was the manager of the shopping center walked in, and I was talking to them, and I mentioned something like my blog, and whether they have any opportunities and to get like, you know, for the website, because I noticed they also had a blog. And I showed them my blog and they absolutely loved it. So they offered me my first ever opportunity to work in a content creation team. Mind you, this was a decade ago, like the content creation word that didn't even exist. Like, I remember I went to the careers advisor of my university and I was like, I just want to create content. I want to keep doing what I'm currently doing. Obviously at the time I didn't know it was possible to monetize it to become a, you know, a full-time career, but she was like, I don't know if what you want. Is it a journalist? Is it an artist? What, a photographer? Like, what are you? What is it? I started to get my first paid gigs, and these were people in my community, in my neighborhood, like in my area. I was in Portsmouth. I went to University of Portsmouth. That would contact me through Instagram, and they would say things like, "Can you do that for me? Can you create that, like images like this for me? Can you do it for my brand? Can you also do it? Can you help me run my Instagram page?" COVID happened. And then when COVID happened, I was also finishing my master's at the time, which I did in entrepreneurship. And I was like, I want to have a business. I am making money. So I have my part-time job. I am applying to graduate jobs. I am freelancing in marketing and I'm doing my content creation. I just don't know how to combine everything. And it was in COVID in 2020 when I decided to set up my creative media agency, which is registered in the UK, and I have a team in the UK that is helping me manage it and run it, okay? This agency specializes in content. So at first I labeled it as a creative agency, and now it is a digital marketing agency, but I will always specialize in creative, in content production and paid ads. But as I said, we do that in London, England, the UK. We don't do that in Indonesia, okay? One thing I wish I had done better is I wish I had been more business savvy. So now I'm more business savvy and I'm like, I think more in business terms when it comes to London, when we get an opportunity in London. But at the time I feel like I was massively underpaying and like undercharging myself. So I wish I had thought about, okay, I'm gonna scale this, I'm gonna get these clients, charge what I need to charge, and then like start building a team sooner. I wish I had done that because it was just myself, and eventually I got a graduate job and I had my marketing agency on the side, and I had, you know, everything going on. But I wanted to get the corporate experience as well. I knew I wanted to get the corporate experience because I've always dreamed about working in an office, working in a team, and I feel like I'm honestly so grateful that when I finished university, I went into corporate because I've learned so many things in corporate that I've applied to my marketing agency. For example, things like getting a client acquisition. These are things that you don't just learn. Like I used to watch the sales team in my companies, how they acquire new clients, how they manage them, CRM, even things like, CRM using HubSpot. Like I saw all these big companies using HubSpot and keeping track of all the leads, all the marketing clients, you know, things that, as I said, invoicing, like these are contracts. These are all things that I watched my managers do that I've brought to my company, to my marketing agency. So it's now, I think, 2022, 2023, I think, and I'm corporate and I'm starting to burn out. Why? Because ever since I was at university, so as I said, 18 years old, came to England, but when I was at university, I was constantly traveling, and my friends that were in uni with me, they will agree that I was constantly. I had a long weekend, I was away. I had Easter, I would do my best to take it off, and I've always enjoyed traveling. Obviously, my budget was very small, but one thing about me, I'll always do anything I have to do to travel. Okay, so I used to like have side hustles. I also started another business when I was at university. I was teaching Spanish to retired people in England. I was making a fortune, guys. So that's a big business opportunity for you. If you are a Spanish-speaking person that lives in England, just know that's a big market. I was making a lot of money through that, and with all this money, I would always reinvest it in either equipment. So I always have cameras, I bought laptops, editing softwares, like things to grow my personal brand. I used to just document my travels as a solo female traveler. I was at university, so I was so young, and I would encourage people, and I would always encourage other women to travel solo, to follow their heart, follow their dreams. And that's what I started to become known for on social media, just a girl that just talks about solo travel and inspires others to do the same. And that's how my personal brand around solo travel. Mind you, I was traveling, but I was not a digital nomad. I'm quite hyperactive, so when I'm in the office and there's a lot going on and I'm overstimulated, I can easily get carried away and start talking to people and do other things, and I feel less productive. How I actually became a digital nomad, I think it was 2022. I'm not sure, but anyway, I had a job and honestly, I was just burned out. I remember I used to go to work and I was driving. I moved to Manchester and I used to drive my car to the office. It was only 30 minutes away, but then with the traffic during in the morning, it used to take me 2 hours. So I used to wake up at 5, go to the gym, and from the gym take the motorway and go straight to Manchester Central, and I would get to the office at 9 or even 10 a.m. It was just very chaotic. And I remember my cortisol was raised. I used to be just, I was like, why am I even coming to the office? Like, I work better from home. I have an office in my own house. It's not like I don't have a place to work. I have better internet at my own home. I have, I feel like I can focus more. And I tried to communicate that to my manager at the time, and my manager didn't understand, or she didn't agree. She was like, my job was hybrid, so I was required to be in the office certain times per week. And I remember just driving, and it was like 3 times in the week that I had to be in the office, but I didn't like it. I was like, why am I even driving here for? Because then I get to the office and I'm working on my own, like I'm alone on my laptop with my headphones. Like, why am I even here? And I'm waiting like 4 precious hours each day. Multiply that by 3 times per week per month. How many hours you are wasting? And this is 2 hours just to commute. It doesn't, count the time where in the day where you're just chit-chatting with people in the office, where you're not actually getting any work done. And working in marketing is not the same as working in an office doing admin. When you're doing admin, you clock in and you clock out and then you go home. And if you've been chit-chatting all day, then you still get paid at the end of the day. Whereas in marketing, especially I was a marketing manager, you have projects, like you have to finish your project. I'm in the office, I'm chit-chatting, we have all these unnecessary meetings, but then I still have to go home and I have to finish work and I have to do this because I have deadlines that I need to meet. So it all started to create a burnout in me that I was like, this is not what I want, and I actually want to travel. So what happened was that I actually ate Christmas that time. I was not happy at that job, and I think I had a few clashes with my manager because I told her that I wasn't happy to come to the office, it was not productive, and I was happier working from home. It was now Christmas and I wanted to leave. And I couldn't make it. I was like, oh my God, I have bought a house. I have a house, I'm paying mortgage, I have my car, I have all these big things. I live on my own, I have no one I can rely on. I can't just quit my job. I can't just quit this job and, just go and live life and go back to my parents. That's not an option for me. And I came the next day and I handed my resignation, and I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do with my life. I have no savings because I've just finished refurbishing my house, but I'm gonna make it work because it's a desire I had in my heart. And I know at the end of the day, God provides. It's not your manager that provides, it's not your job, it's God. Everything is in God's hands, okay? So I handed my resignation, and that's how it started. This was Christmas. I went home for Christmas. Literally like 2 days later, I went to Madrid, spent Christmas with my family, then came back, and I knew I needed to lock in to get the life I desired and I wanted. And this is a life that I've always dreamed of, which is a life of complete financial and location freedom, because we don't talk about location freedom enough, okay? So that's the life I wanted, and I was willing to hustle and make my business, my marketing agency work to give me that life I wanted. I was working 14 hours per day. I would wake up in the morning at 5 a.m., go to the gym, and by 7:30, 8 a.m., I was on my laptop working, and I would close my laptop at 10, 11 a.m. Okay, I was working crazy hours. I was doing this 6 times per week. Sundays were my day off because Sundays are for the Lord, and Sundays I would go to church and I would just try to relax a little bit. And guess what, guys? In 3 months, I went from 0 to making At first, I was making 4, 5, 6K per month in my marketing agency, but mind you, it was just myself. And then I was like, do you know what? I'm gonna grow this. So I started to research about how to grow a marketing agency, not how to grow as a freelancer, how to grow an agency, how to hire a team, how to manage a team. And that's what I started doing. And do you know what? I managed to grow my team to a team of 6 people. I went from being made redundant to growing my marketing agency to a team of 6 people. I was traveling. I spent a month living in the Philippines, a month living in Indonesia. I spent 3 months living in Latin America. I would go home to see my mom every 2 months in Madrid and spend time with her. I spent a couple of weeks in Dubai. And I was like, this is the life I've always wanted. This is so much fun. So I started working, continue working my marketing agency, continue building my team, focus on growing my marketing agency, because I'm a firm believer that if you want to do something well, like very, very well, you have to focus on that one thing. And I think it's very, very difficult to focus on growing a multi 6-figure marketing agency and growing a multi 6-figure personal brand or a content creation business, you know? I feel like you have to focus on growing one and then you focus on the other one. And that's what I did. I spent a couple of years just focusing on my marketing agency, and it became what it is, a multi 6-figure marketing agency with a big team. We are based in London, we work with clients, and it gives me the opportunity to travel full time and work remotely and give me the life that I've always dreamed of. But again, it's been hard work that I've had to put in. So then what happened was that I used to spend short periods of time. So like, as I said, the Philippines, Indonesia, Latin America, but I never took the leap of, what if I go for a year? What if I go and don't come back? And that's how the idea of going to Bali started. And it came after I spent a month in Bali in 2023 and absolutely loved it. So I decided to come back in 2025. And then I decided to focus on my personal brand and grow my Instagram, grow my platforms, grow my YouTube, grow my podcast, grow everything. And that's actually, it just proves that when you put your everything, as I was saying earlier, when you put your everything into one thing, that's how you grow it. So I focused on my personal brand when I came to Bali, and guess what? From one day to the other, I went mega viral. My social media grew so much. My life completely changed when I went mega viral on social media. From one day to the other, I started to get opportunities, trips, travel, hotel collabs, restaurant collabs, beauty treatments. And it just shows that you can, with social media, everything can change from one day to the other if you are willing to put in the hard work. You can go viral anytime. Going viral is very easy, okay? However, building an audience is not so easy, and I would say put the focus on building your audience and creating the best high quality content you can create. It will happen to you. Your moment will come. If you are posting consistently, if your message is clear, if you are posting the best content you can possibly post, your moment would definitely come. And I'm a testimony that your life can change from one day to the other. People don't know is that I've been working on my social media for 12 years now. This podcast is my passion project. It's just my hobby. It's something that I love. Let me know if you enjoyed this episode. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching today's episode or for listening to today's episode if you are joining me on Spotify. See you in the next one.